So Freddie Gibbs recently came out and said that he wishes he didn't take the gangsta rap route for his career. Freddie Gibbs is, the rapper from Gary, Indiana, who's got an excellent discography, like anything from his collabs with Madlib to Shadow of a Doubt to BFK. Like, he's got a really solid release by release track record, and style wise he's incorporated a lot. He's got a little Pac in his voice, he's got a little Bone Thugs in his flow. It's a lot of things coming together, but it makes for this very intense, kind of make the hair on the back of your neck stand up kind of energy, right? And he sounds very threatening sometimes, but he's got a sense of humor in his rhymes too. One of my favorite MCs of the past 15 years. But I'm gonna get into like what he said specifically and also what that means for his career going forward. But I first picked up on Freddie Gibbs when he was on I think it was a 2010 XXL freshman cover. You know how they do that annual of up and coming MCs on the XXL magazine. Like, they started it, it was one of the early freshman classes, and I knew most of the people already. Like, J. Cole was on it, rest in peace Nipsey Hussle, he was on it, Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, OJ the Juice Man, J-Rock, Fast Sean, they were all on it, and I knew of them and of their work. And then there were three that I didn't know so much about. There was Donis, Pill, I don't know what happened with either of them, and then there was Freddie Gibbs. This was around the time where his latest release at that time was Straight Killer No Filler, another really good release. So that put him on my radar, and then shortly after that, I remember my homie Josh, my best friend, rest in peace, he died in 2020, and I think about him every day. Like, that was my brother from another. But back in like 2011 or so, he came and visited me, and he was playing, like, we always share what we've been listening to with each other. We kind of give each other the aux, so to speak, and like let each other play some stuff. And he played, the artist that I had seen on the cover, but didn't really dive into his work like that. He played Cold Day in Hell by Freddie Gibbs. It was a mixtape right between Straight Killer No Filler and I believe BFK, Babyface Killer. But Cold Day in Hell, from beginning to end, this is when Freddie Gibbs was signed to Young Jeezy. He's got this track too on that mixtape called Rob Me Up. And I swear, this might be the best verse that Freddie Gibbs has kicked throughout his career. Check out the verse 1 on Rob Me Up, and it's just cold-blooded. I mean, that's just how Gangsta Gibbs gets down. But I mean, it is so exhilarating of a verse, and his rapid fire way of spitting it was just phenomenal. But it was so dark, it was twisted. It was like, I mean, Freddie Gibbs talks about everything from murder to kidnap to holding your whole family for ransom. He just talks about like the roughest parts of the street life, and parts of the street life that most people probably don't even have to deal with. Like, Freddie Gibbs is talking about like the darkest corners of the street life. And like so many other gangster rappers, and like how Bone made Mo Murda sound so attractive, Freddie Gibbs makes that life, I mean, he makes it sound interesting, attractive. So Freddie Gibbs has developed this whole, I mean, you could call it a persona to a degree, but he's developed a catalog around, Freddie Kane, like this cold-blooded narrator. And in a recent interview talk, Freddie Gibbs is talking about how he wishes he could just do away with that whole persona. He's talking about, I'm 40 years old now. This isn't even the life that I live. This isn't what I want for myself. This isn't what I want for my family. And basically, I wish I didn't paint myself into a corner artistically by rapping all of this gangsta hardcore content. I wish I could rap about, humorous things. I wish I could rap about girls or funny things, you know what I mean? And before I get into what this might mean for his subsequent releases, one, please like the video if you haven't, and subscribe if you're into this type of music talk. I go cross genre, and I give a lot of music history, talk a lot of present music. I try to cover a lot of the bases. But what Freddie Gibbs was specifically saying, and I'm gonna give some of it, he said, I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I wish I could just get up and rap about some other ish. I wish that I would have made my career of rapping about some funny ish or girls or comedic or any effing thing but this ish. Every day I think about that. I wish I had a rap career that was not gangsta. I don't want this ish for myself. I don't want this ish for my son. I rap about this ish because it consumed me. It's where I'm from. It's what I was doing on the daily for 2 decades. And then he goes on, I don't give a F about no street code. I don't give a F about none of these in the street. I don't want y'all to think that I'm rapping this ish because I'm trying to glorify it. I'm really not. And then he continues, but if that's the case, and he just dropped an album this year, and it did have a lot of the same themes that we're used to hearing Freddie Gibbs rap about. It was called, the project was called You Only Die Once, and it was along with the theme he had released when he got out of jail before, when he was held overseas on a case that he beat. He had released You Only Live Once. So this one is You Only Die Once, and yeah, it's Gangsta Gibbs on this 2024 project. But going forward, what is he gonna do if he doesn't feel like it's even reflecting how he's living right now? And he's acknowledging that, and he's saying that he regrets that he's been doing it, and that he wishes that he didn't develop this type of a track record behind the mic. I mean, it has changed his life, obviously. I mean, he's made good money over the years, and he's got a very established career. I hope he doesn't ever have to work again. Although you've got to have a lot of money to not have to do anything, right? You've got to at least invest it wisely and stuff. But what does this mean for Freddie Gibbs going forward? You know, I think that there is an opportunity. Now, there's a risk if you are going to kind of change lanes. And that risk is that the fan base that you've developed over the years, they might and they might not change lanes with you. But I think that it's more likely that they will change lanes with you going from gangsta to non-gangsta than it is if you were non-gangsta and then you try to go gangsta. Like, MC Hammer kind of did that a long time ago, and it didn't work out for him. But I mean, just imagine, like, if Common, right? If Common were to come out with a gangsta or gangsta adjacent album, it would be a head scratcher, right? Like, it would almost be comedic to listen to, because, you know, when we hear artists over the years, and in the case of Common over the decades, rap in a certain way, it's almost like they build a persona that we link to their actual self, to where there's a expectation that's developed over the years. So with Freddie Gibbs, there is now an expectation when we hear Freddie Gibbs that he's going to be talking about a certain something. It's not easy to change lanes, especially in hip hop, where the fan base is very much wanting what they want. And if you've earned their fanship over rapping about a certain something, and they've come to expect that, again, there's no guarantee that they're going to change lanes with you. But again, I think that there's more of a chance that they will go with you from gangsta to non-gangsta than would be the case if you were non-gangsta, winning their fanship that way and then switching over to gangsta. Like, I feel like throughout the years, Jay-Z, not that he was hardcore gangsta or anything, but, you know, he talked about like dope dealing and stuff like that, and still does to a degree when he does, release. And I know there's a whole other conversation around Jay-Z right now, different conversation for a different day, but, you know, he's come a long way. If you compare like the themes of Reasonable Doubt or In My Lifetime Volume 1 or Hard Knock Life or Life and Times of Sean Carter, compare those, or even like Streets is Watching, that little in-between project that he had. Compare those, or it was a soundtrack. Compare those with his last two releases, Magna Carta Holy Grail and 444. Jay-Z has very much matured his content over the years. I think that there's a chance, depending on what Freddie Gibbs is able to do lyrically, like, what is he gonna rap about? What are the themes gonna be? Is he gonna talk about, non-gangster, but just like everyday guy type of stuff? Is he gonna talk about rich stuff? Like, is it gonna be like lifestyle rap? Think like Currency, right? Or like Larry June today. There are gangsta aspects of what they're talking about, but they're just talking about like, kicking it and just living a certain lifestyle, just, going about their day in a certain way, twisting one up and hanging with some chicks or something, right? Just something that's not so hardcore, not so violent. Maybe there's a path to a new career for Freddie Gibbs taking an approach, something like that. I don't think he's gonna get into some super duper lyrical miracle stuff, and it'll be risky if he tries to do a about face, a total 180, and get into what has become known as conscious rap. That wouldn't be easy, right? He's not like to become like a Mos Def or Talib Kweli. I think that there might be a little in between ground, like the late rapper that passed, the underground rapper K.A. He was kind of like, he rapped in I used to live this life, but I know better now, but I'm gonna speak on some of the trappings and stuff like that. It was very much like I am on the other side of that lifestyle now type of persona that Ka had. And it was really endearing in earning him fans that way. I think that Freddie Gibbs has a chance at creating that type of longevity going forward if he can stake out a middle ground like that. But I'm going to be looking really closely at his subsequent releases, because it seems, I mean, just the tone in which he was expressing this, it seems like it really bothers him. And so we'll see if it's a gradual change, or if it's a sudden and abrupt and dramatic change, or if there's no change at all. But I'm really curious to see if he does change lanes, what lane he will change to. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on those. You know, again, I'm a big fan of Freddie Gibbs, his work. Yes, I do believe that there is a big toxicity within hip hop that's detrimental to Black culture. I've felt that. I've felt that for decades, but I do still listen to a good amount of gangsta rap. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Freddie Gibbs' commentary around his own career and what he wishes for himself and what he regrets. And do you think that there's a path forward for Freddie Gibbs to maintain fanship? And will it be the same fans that carry over to this next chapter, if there is, in fact, a next chapter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And it's interesting because he does have 2 projects with Madlib. Madlib was way before he was working with Freddie Gibbs. Madlib's from the Loot Pack. If you want to go even further back, Madlib got his start with the Alcoholics out of Oxnard. That's Tash, J-Ro, E Swift, the Alcoholics, who got their start from King T, if you want to go way back. But yeah, Exhibit came as the dysfunctional member of the Alcoholics family. So that's where Madlib comes from. And when Madlib was in the Loot Pack, and for most of Madlib's work, like with MF Doom and stuff, and with, Jay Dilla, Madlib's not a gangsta rap producer, but he chooses his collaborations very well. Like, he's very selective, but it usually works when it's a Madlib collaboration. And so it just happens that Madlib, from, underground rap, if you will, was collaborating with gangsta rap Freddie Gibbs. So there's already some crossover and some foot in the doors. Freddie Gibbs isn't just solely looked at as a gangsta rapper. He is, his themes and concepts and content is largely gangsta, but he's got the respect of a lot of, hippity hop hip hop fans. He's had that. So I do think that there is an opportunity if he were to change lanes. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you love hip hop like I do. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.